Welcome to Simply Sarah. I'm Sarah Stockham, your host, and I'm just so grateful that you are here. Whether you are watching live or you are choosing to have this fit into your schedule, whether you're watching or listening, so grateful that you are here. I was driving this week and I was thinking about our time together in Simply Sarah, and there was this series of books, Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul, and individual stories that would be about different topics that would be so encouraging to people. And I began to think a little bit about that, about how the people who come on and share their stories are so courageous and are resilient. And so maybe this is a little bit of like that book series. We are so grateful for the Stegner family, for their continued support, and also Lamano Art. Today in studio, so delighted to have Emily David. Thank you so much for carving time out of your incredibly busy schedule to be with us.
I'm happy to be here.
So, for our audience, some of the things that happen when you marry into a beautiful, huge family is that you get to have a larger family yourself. And that's been one of the gifts of marrying Mike, that you are Mike's niece. And so this is one of those incredible gifts. But I will tell the audience that I am nervous for this conversation, and I don't get nervous for conversations. But Emily David, you are somebody that I have admired since you were young and have just watched your trajectory. You are one of the top colorists in America, and you have worked at salons where you have earned incredible awards. I would love for you to share part of your journey of how you got to where you are today. It's a remarkable story.
Where I started in my career, or
Sure. How did you get into hair? How did you get into color? How did
um,
you get to where you are?
I
What
mean,
was
as a kid, I was always the person playing with my girlfriend's hair, always doing my hair. My hair always had to be perfect. I could care less about my outfit, but if my hair was on point, that's all that really mattered. After graduating high school, I tried the college thing and it just wasn't for me. So I decided to go to beauty school, which I always kind of wanted to do, but I didn't know if it would actually be a fulfilling career for me.
Mm.
Then in beauty school, I feel like it just clicked for me doing hair. And I just took off from there and just decided to not be just a hairstylist, but make it be an actual full career.
And you've absolutely done that. You now are a co-owner of the shop on 29th in Denver, and you guys are busy all of the time with the waiting list of people who are wanting to come in.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you have moved from working for somebody else in other places and then taking your book of business and saying, this is what I want and this is how I want to move forward. How did you come to that decision?
Well, the last salon I was at was an amazing salon. I was there for 9.5 years, and I worked for a woman who was very supportive and uplifting and kind of treated me like I was her co partner instead of just her employee. So I feel like I learned a lot of the ways in those 9.5 years of how to own a salon and be a leader and kind of take charge. And it kind of just got to the point where me and my business partner wanted a smaller, more intimate setting for where we did our craft, and just decided to branch out from there with all the skills that we have had over the years. I think I was at about 16 years of doing hair before I finally opened my own hair salon.
And was that something that you were finding it easy to do, or were there pieces of owning your own salon that were growth points for you?
It was easy to make the decision. It was terrifying to take the leap because of the what ifs. What if clients didn't follow me? What if I fail? I still go through those what ifs every day, but I think the part of like having to stay on top of things all the time and having to challenge myself is what keeps me going, and not having a mundane day to day
Yeah,
in my life, and just always every day like something new might happen.
absolutely. And I have known different people who have gone to beauty school, and after about, I don't know, 12 years or so, it seems like they begin to have joint aches
Yeah.
from holding their hands up and maybe from standing so much. Have you found ways to uh, alleviate or not have those issues?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having a healthy lifestyle helps me a lot, like having a routine in the morning, waking up, stretching, working out, just staying physically healthy, eating good foods, stuff like that has definitely helped me maintain.
And have you found in the food world that you push more into vegetables, or do you find that it's kind of every day is a little bit different in terms of how you choose to fill, nourish your body?
I feel like it's different. I'm also an athlete, so I feel like I need carbs and protein to fuel my body, but I would say more of like clean eating. During the week when I'm working, I'm not drinking, I'm not like doing anything that's super inflammatory to my body, to keep it super clean and make sure I'm going to bed early,
Mhm.
and just sticking to my routine during work days has really helped me.
And then with drinking water, Emily, is there a type of water that you like or a filtration system that you found helpful?
I don't necessarily go crazy on that. I make sure that I'm up on my electrolytes, and living in Denver, I am chugging water on a daily basis. So just making sure that I am always keeping up on that.
And I remember being at your place and seeing electrolytes there, and then I began using them as well, and
Yeah.
how helpful they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Your
to
body thrives on magnesium, and it's one of the biggest supplements that people don't take that your body needs for daily life. So I think making sure that there's plenty of magnesium in your body is very helpful.
yeah, I really appreciate you being so willing to share that information years ago.
Yeah.
When you think back on college, some of our listeners are contemplating for themselves, or maybe they have children who are contemplating that space of doing what people would say is a very often a traditional
Mm-hmm.
college into the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to somebody who's kind of in that space of processing and then maybe even discovering, like you, that it wasn't a sweet spot for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to take your time before you jump in going to college. I think it's absolutely insane that we expect people at 18 years old to pick a place and a degree that they're going to stick with for the rest of their lives. I think that's crazy. So I would say unless you are really gung ho, like to be a doctor or something that you absolutely need a degree in, to take your time getting there, because you'll have the rest of your life to work and to find a trade. And even if you find a trade and don't go to college, it doesn't mean that you're not educated and not smart. You're just educated in other ways besides ways that college has to offer.
I think that we have looked so much, and I say this as a recovering teacher, recovering educator, that we have so looked at the degrees and said, hey, this is, if you have this degree, then by all means, you must be whatever that box happens to look like.
Yeah.
We looked at certificates and we haven't given as much uh, value, perhaps,
Yeah.
to them. And I know that you continue to do continuing education
Yeah.
and that you travel around taking classes because you're curious, you're interested, you're still learning.
Right.
And there seems to be with the degree thing, hey, I've gotten it, it's on the wall, it's done. And yet in the certificated world, there seems to be so much more of, yeah, I'm at this place, but I know that there's even more to learn. And don't we want to be fostering lifelong learners?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I think, especially in my place, since I didn't just get a degree and stop, like I am continuously learning and continuously talking to fellow business owners and learning, asking questions every day of how they do things and how I should do things differently and stuff like that to learn.
And do you find in your network that you have people who are very open to share and that it's easy to have those conversations?
I do. I definitely think small business owners are like there to share and to uplift
Mhm.
like other business owners. Like I'm friends with other girls who own hair salons right down the street from me. And, you would think that would be competitive, but instead we're just super open and supportive of
Mm.
one another.
I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Emily, how did you decide on the days that you want to work and the hours that you want to work?
So for years, I worked weekends. When I first started doing hair, I would work 7 days a week just to build my clientele book. I was just hustling. And though I love my craft, I also am here to make money. And I was trying to be as profitable as humanly possible. So would work weekends. A lot of my days were Wednesday through Saturday, Wednesday through Sunday for many, many years. And then I've noticed that in Colorado, especially, a lot of people don't like to come get their hair done on weekends. They want to be doing other things like being out with their family or in the mountains or camping or all sorts of things. So I took the leap probably 10 years ago and started working Monday through Thursdays, working longer days from 10 to 7 so I could get people in the morning, but also in the evening after work. And I've never looked back. And luckily, a lot of people are work from home and come in their lunch breaks, or we'll just figure out to make the time, just like a doctor appointment or something else. And it's few and far between that people get annoyed that I'm not working on weekends anymore. And it's better for my mental health too.
Hmm, that's beautiful. We're going to get a quick break here. We're going to come back afterwards and continue this conversation.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I am the founder and owner of Lamano Art. I began this business over 20 years ago. I specialize in paintings of all kinds. I make murals, portraits, and live paintings. My specialty is color and also telling a story. Some of the work that Lamano Art does are calligraphy pieces, wedding invitations, sign work, and sculptures like fairy doors. I'm open to working with anyone on any idea. Please feel free to contact me at your convenience, and I look so forward to talking to you. Thank you.
Emily, I'm so enjoying this conversation. Thank you for making it so easy because I was so nervous coming in.
Of
I
course.
just appreciate how easy it is to just share and to talk. I think that along the way, there may have been some things that have been challenges or perhaps even disappointments. You are one of the most resilient people that I know. What are some of your tools when you come across things that you're like, this was not what I expected, this is not how it was supposed to be, and yet this is the way that it is? How do you navigate those pieces?
I mean, I would say some of my tools are the community that I've built around me, the people that I love the most, like friends that are pretty much family that I can go to with any problem and like bump ideas off of them and stuff like that. Also, like working on my mental health and having those resources for my mental health, breath work, I feel like that all kind of just helps me work and navigate through the hard times.
Can you talk about breath work a little bit? I think of breath work when people say that as like yoga or breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 6, and holding for 2. So
Yeah.
those kinds of things. Go ahead.
I mean, for breath work, I mostly just like take the time to be just conscious in my body and
Mhm.
just focus on my breathing. It doesn't necessarily have to be for a certain amount of time or like how many ins and outs you do, but I think just like feeling your heartbeat and like listening to your breath is like the biggest power that you can have with your body.
Hmm. As a creative, as somebody who is an expert in color, yes, and cut as well, but absolutely an artist when it comes to color, do you find that getting away from your craft is sometimes helpful?
I think it's very helpful to take breaks and to get away from it so you come back refreshed and feeling like revived and like getting that itch to be artistic again.
Mm. Are there places that you go that you find kind of fills that for you?
Anywhere hot, a beach or an ocean, I love.
Yes.
And anywhere that I can go with friends that just fill up my cup with lots
Mm.
of laughter, that kind of helps me.
Yeah. With you eating so clean, when you think about going on vacation, are you careful to pack different kinds of foods with you, or are you aware that when you're on vacation that your body will use whatever fuel that you give it and that you don't need to be packing all the electrolytes and those kinds of things?
I pack my go-tos. I pack my like electrolytes and supplements and stuff like that. I'll pack sometimes like granola bars or things that I know that I love, that my body loves, just in case. I try to, on vacation, eat clean for at least 2 meals a day, and then will allow myself to kind of splurge on whatever from there and enjoy myself. But I still try to keep it pretty similar just so I'm not coming back from vacation feeling bogged down. Like I'm actually coming back feeling refreshed.
Emily, that's such an important point that how we are fueling our body when we are away makes such a difference in how we feel when we come back, not just
Mhm.
the being away and seeing. You live in Sunshine Beach or altitude in Denver,
Yeah.
but you know that the warmth of the beach, the sand under your feet, being able to go for runs if you want to, being in
Hmm.
the water, all those things are so refreshing. The salt water is so good for us. But if we are eating, if I'm choosing to eat just not very well all of the days, I can come back having had that experience of being away and
Yeah.
yet not feel refreshed. I hadn't thought about
Right.
that before. That's such an important component of that.
Yeah. Nothing's worse than coming back from vacation and needing a vacation.
It is
It
so
doesn't
true.
satisfy it, you know?
Kind of defeats the purpose in some ways, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you also find that you have a certain way of packing? I know that after I read the book, oh, it slipped my mind now, The Magic of Tidying Up, that
Uh-huh.
I packed my suitcases very differently and chose what I put in the carry-on differently as well. Do you carry on and a big suitcase, or do you find uh, what are your go-tos for getting through airports? I think is the question that I'm really asking.
I'm usually a carry-on girl. I try to be very intentional in every way in life. So when I pack, I try to be more minimalistic and intentional of what I'll actually use and not overpack.
Speaking of being so intentional, are
Hmm.
there things with food preparation or for food um, containers and things that you have found to be really helpful as you are at home, as you are at work, as you're doing different things that have been sustainable? Are there products that you would say, hey, if you are looking for a more sustainable way to do these things, look at these ideas?
Yeah, not necessarily anything special. I like a pre-cook a lot and just put them in glass containers that I'll bring to work for so I have my fuel for the day. So I'm not having to order out and stuff, but I definitely meal prep and think about my week ahead of time. So I know exactly what it's kind of going to look like. So if there are any road bumps during the week, it's not as big of a deal as if I wasn't prepared.
I think that's such deep wisdom for anybody who owns their own business to
Mhm.
look ahead for the week, to go ahead and meal prep. And I love your idea of using glass containers. There's so much in the news right now about the microplastics or the little tiny pieces that and how it's impacting us. And I think that when we do use glass, that
Mhm.
when our food touches less plastic, there's less of a chance for contamination in that way.
Yeah.
And, you being intentional about that, I think is such a wise thing. Plus, it's just so easy to put them in the dishwasher
Yeah.
when you get home. I'm not so excited about putting plastic in the dishwasher. I know that they say that you can.
Yeah.
I do think that when we heat things, it begins to warp things. And so
Sure.
I have some things that I have actually put into the recycle this morning because I was like, thanks, but no.
Yeah. That's done.
Exactly. Exactly. When you think about, again, that place of sustainability, the place of um, small business owners, encouraging them, being in community with them? Are there different places that are different ways as people are considering that, moving from the big box stores and really investing into the community where they live? Things for them to be
Mhm.
looking for when they are thinking about, a new wardrobe or adding some pieces in, or perhaps looking for a different piece of furniture or some lighting. Are there things that you look for or ways that you connect in that might be helpful for our listeners to consider as they are looking to be more intentional as well?
Yeah, I just try to find, like in Denver, there's little pockets of neighborhoods that you can go in that are very walkable streets. And I
Mm,
just try to go and walk those streets and like pop into a lot of the stores, see what they have, talk to the store owners if there's a piece of furniture or something in there that they like, and then just kind of, you know, go from there and figure out like what's local, what's around me that I can support. But usually, if it's a walkable place in a small neighborhood, it's usually small business and
mm,
like minded people.
yeah. Would you have considered, I'm just thinking about you talking and easily talking with people, would you have considered yourself and someone who found it easy to talk to people you didn't know as you were growing up?
No, I am a very shy person. I'm still a very shy person. I'm very confident behind the chair and I'm confident around people that I know well. But besides that, it takes a lot out of me, a lot of energy out of me to talk to people that I don't know.
How do you replenish that energy?
By just doing me time, by being alone, by working out, and also by being around people that I just feel comfortable with, that I don't feel like I need to fill the space with noise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And getting the chance to laugh when you guys are together.
exactly.
Yeah, we did brunch when we were last in town together, and I was just so impressed, Em, with the ease of conversation with so many different people who were from different walks of life, and yet obviously deeply part of a community that encourages and holds each other, that shares different kinds of thoughts and comments, and uh, just building each other up.
Yeah,
And I hadn't seen that in action for so long. And I came away from that day, from that brunch, and then later on in the day, just so uplifted by the
yeah,
possibility of what can be, right?
right.
And how have you helped to foster those relationships?
I mean, I think it's just being intentional and making sure that you're checking in, that you're supporting, your friend who's the chef at the local restaurant or your friend who owns whatever store it is, or, my facialist is one of my friends. My masseuse is someone that I fully love and respect, and just making sure you're checking in and supporting and
Yeah.
always like going back to them instead of like finding someone new so you can keep that community strong.
I love that. And also the checking in between um, appointments.
Mhm.
We, as you know, recently relocated about 2 years ago, and I have found an incredible massage therapist here, a masseuse, and um, was there yesterday and realized that in addition to planning my next, putting on the appointment for the next three that I'll go in, that it would be a friendly thing to do, right? Not just a business thing, but a friendly thing to do to kind of check in between to see how she's doing and maybe send her a picture of, flowers or something that I've taken. Just
Mhm.
that space of it's easy to do,
Right,
but seeing small business owners as people, in addition to them being people
right,
who are providing services.
right. I
Yeah.
think that goes a long way, is not just treating people like they provide you a service, but that they're
Mm,
actual human beings that you walk alongside with, not
yeah.
the expectation of their services.
And I think that you may be gifted in that. I know that introverts need to have the quiet time to think their thoughts, to process things out, and extroverts are so much more on the other side where they need to talk in
Mhm.
order to work out their thoughts. But there's something about the way that you do that that is very intentional, and it's super obvious and the rewards of that. Not only do you have a facialist who looks forward to time with you,
Mm-hmm.
but that's also that, what's taking place in your life that you can share, and you're also asking what's taking place in, their life, in that space of common conversation, of encouraging and weaving the web, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. If you were to talk to somebody who is considering coming into hair design, beauty
Mm-hmm.
school, uh, somebody who's just thinking about the very, very beginning of all of this, what advice would you give to them, Emily?
Um, I would say it's not for the weak. You have to be very passionate about it, and you have to be very hardworking. It's long days. It's hard on your body. It can be draining because not only are you a hairstylist, but you're a therapist to multiple humans every single day. So not only do you come home physically exhausted, but you come home just completely mentally drained. So I think that's something that you definitely have to remember coming into being a hairstylist.
And I would think that there would be some similarities to somebody who does nails as well.
I'm
Um,
sure.
that therapy part of it, because I'm not sure that there are a lot of people who come in for services who just want to be there for the service.
Right.
There seems to be that social part of, this is somebody that I can, in my experiences and listening around, some people are sharing really, really hard things. And I'm not really sure sometimes that they want to make it be better, that they just are so happy to have this, really shocking story to tell,
Right.
and to have a client after client after client over a day, and then over a week, and then for that to be even longer, who are coming in and sharing, can't wait to share this shocking thing with you. That has to
Right.
be a difficult piece. And I appreciate that you use not only the electrolytes and your food as barriers on that, but also that you're an athlete. How did you get into the world of athletics?
Um, I think it was pushed on me by my parents as a childhood, to be honest. But I also was always really good at it. And then throughout life have found that it helps me mentally and just feels good to be moving my body always. And it kind of just keeps me in line if I have expectations of myself to do
Mm.
something physical. I'm not gonna just be like sit on the couch, or I'm not just gonna go eat like crap or something like that because I want to feel good while I'm doing the physical things.
Yeah. I know that you work out at home, that you have your own home gym, but do you also then go out in competitions or go out and do team sports, other things that when you have time?
I don't really do team sports. I'm more of a runner, so I'm more of like I like to work out by myself personally. So it's like my therapy time.
Yeah, it's so, so good.
Yeah.
And I have deep respect for you choosing that, and then choosing the best equipment to have at home so that you don't have to go out and be with other people as you're working out.
Yeah.
And Emily, that you also have that self dedication, that self discipline to
Hmm.
make sure that you are doing it on a regular basis.
Right.
And because there comes a point where it's incremental changes that you are seeing over time rather than the big, who I just took, 2 minutes off of a mile kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You're at the elite point where, um, that's, you've shaved those minutes already off.
Hmm.
So, doing that. Um, can we talk about hair, please?
Yeah.
I had somebody recently share with me that our hair completely changes every 7 years.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a real thing.
Yes, it's female hormones. It's not men, it's mostly just women, but it's our good old hormones that help with those changes of our hair.
And so, what are the changes that people will see, let's say from 14 to 21?
14 to 21, probably not a lot because you still have collagen in your body, which is a big part of that. After I think it's 23 or 24, you start losing collagen slowly from your body. So
Okay.
that's when you'll see more of the bigger changes. I would say from 20 to 40 are the biggest changes you'll see in hair. With the lack of collagen, your hormones changing because you're getting years.
Mhm.
If you bear a child afterwards, you have postpartum fallout, which is where you lose a lot of your hair, which usually grows back. Pregnancy can also cause your hair color to darken or even texture of your hair to change.
Wow.
So I feel like you see a lot of that in your 20s and 30s, which is the biggest one. And then from there, it's, menopause, perimenopause, where it all just goes downhill.
Are there things that people can do or products that they can use to have it slow the process?
I mean, supplement with collagen if that works for your diet. That helps a lot. There are hair supplements like adaptogens. I can't say that word, and mushroom supplements and stuff that help with your hair. And then like as far as when you get to marry or perimenopause and menopause, like making sure you're getting your hormones checked, maybe testosterone, like some peptides and stuff like that can help with that.
So does testosterone then help the hair to
Hair
be
growth. Yes.
grow? Okay.
Yeah.
And then does protein play a part in this as well?
Protein plays a huge part in your hair. Protein and fats. I can tell when a girl is sitting in my chair if she's a vegetarian or a vegan or unhealthy because their hair is usually very fine and brittle.
Huh.
Unless they are a very, very healthy vegan or vegetarian, they just don't get enough fats or proteins in their diet.
That's fascinating. And
Yeah.
so are there um, external supplements that they can use then where they could still continue to be a vegan or vegetarian, and but yet to use this external something or other that would help with the hair not be so brittle?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some supplements that they can take or making sure if they're like just a vegetarian, they're getting enough fats in their diet. It's hard because fish oil is really good for your hair, but like a vegan vegetarian is probably not going to take fish oil.
Possible.
Um, so it would just be making sure they get enough fats in their body wherever that comes from, whether it's like avocados or oils and stuff like that.
And then what do you notice in terms of hair getting drier as people get older? Is that something that also that you are noticing, or is that a very individualized piece?
No, that is definitely a common problem. I think people, as they age, just get drier in general. So just making sure that you're hydrated and again, trying to get as much oils in your diet as possible, I think is really good for you.
Mm, love that.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much. Here I wasn't sure about this every 7-year thing, and you've
Yeah,
completely debunked that. So it's a real, yeah, I mean, you've
it's
made
a
it
real thing.
a
Yeah.
real thing. Yeah. And then for you had opportunity through the years to be trained using different uh, companies' uh, products.
Uh-huh.
And, some of them will say that because the color is sitting on the scalp. I had one person who has been diagnosed with the disease, and she said, I'm done coloring my hair because I'm really concerned about what the color with it sitting on my scalp does for the rest of me.
Right.
And don't know if you have some thoughts about that.
I mean, there are definitely chemicals in hair color, and even some of the most natural ones still have some sort of chemicals. So it's just a personal opinion. I think personally, there's chemicals in the air. So
Yes.
you're going to get it from somewhere, and I want to have pretty hair, so I'll just continue to do it and try my best. Like when me and my partner opened our salon, we decided to use a very clean color line and a clean product line so that we could provide our clients with the best color, but also a more clean, less chemical color. So I think choosing those types of things definitely make a difference if you're going to color your hair every day. But people wash their hands every day with soap and, drink water. And it's kind of like choose your poison in a way.
Oh, that's so, so wise. So, what are the top, if somebody's looking to find a new salon and they
Mhm.
want to do color, what are some of the top brands that you would say these are ones that are perhaps better than maybe some of the other ones?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I mean, it kind of depends on what type of color they're looking for, to be honest, because if someone's looking for gray coverage, I wouldn't necessarily tell them to go to the most natural color line because it might not provide them with the same results.
Yeah. Good.
I would just kind of research what type of style you're wanting and then go from there, and see, like, we use Pulp Riot, which is an Italian line. I feel like a lot of more European lines are a lot cleaner than other lines that would come from like China or something like that. So definitely seeing where it comes from, the origin.
I'm not surprised at all that you are using a line that's from Europe,
Yeah,
because they have been had stricter standards than we have had for decades, maybe
forever.
even longer. Yeah. And that includes in our food, as we are hearing so much about in different places, but also with makeup. And so I'm not surprised that you have found a line that you really like that is a cleaner one that is a European line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so you have a mom who is an identical twin.
Yeah.
And as you look at hair and talk about these hair changes, do you see that people who are twins, identical, or very, very close family related, parent, child, or siblings, do you see similar things happening as in their hair genetically?
I would say similar, but not like, I think outside things coming in definitely change, like stress and diet and stuff like that. But for the most part, pretty similar.
You give me such hope because you talk about all of these things that we have agency over.
Uh-huh.
The space of what we put in our body, the number of chemicals that we choose to take in, how much we choose to work out, all these different pieces, how we choose to vacation, and all of those things are things that we have choices about. And
Mhm.
this conversation is really encouraging to me because what I keep hearing is that we have things that we can do that make a difference, and we can be proactive in our collagen intake and how we are choosing to take care of our temple, our body. And
Mhm.
that's so encouraging for me.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you would like to, conversation topics that you would like to cover, things that you think would be helpful for people who are listening in who may be thinking about being a partner in business or a solopreneur, having a small business that would be helpful for them?
I mean, I would just say take the leap, that it's scary and it's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding in the end. And it's worth every stressor or sleepless night that you have, because in the end, you have more control of your life and what you want the outcome to look like. So I would say just take the leap and do it.
That is such profound encouragement. I love that. When
Mhm.
you think about knowing that you are booked up, how far in advance do you need to put on your calendar that you're going to take some time off?
I kind of do that very last minute. I'm
Okay.
probably not the best at booking. Like sometimes I'll know months in advance,
Hmm.
like if I'm going to go on vacation, but sometimes I take last minute trips and I just know that since I've been doing this so long that clients will understand that I need time away and that I'm a human and have a life also. And honestly, if they don't understand, that's a them problem and they can get upset and move on to someone else. So,
Wow, there is, I love that stance because you are saying, I'm a business owner, I'm important, I'm taking care of myself. And
mhm,
it's a reciprocal relationship. It's
mhm,
not just them in the chair receiving from you, that they also can open up and gift you easily time for you to get away. Do
Yeah.
you find, I've heard other people who are in the beauty industry talk about how crazy busy it is from middle of November all the way up through the holidays. And then, like, that there is this downtime breather that happens in January. Do you find that to be part of the cyclical pattern for you?
I definitely do. It's craziness from November 1st to January 1st for
Mhm.
me. And then it kind of slows down a lot. But I personally like to take that time to take a week or two off for myself and just regroup after the pure craziness.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
In your experience, Emily, what are some of the really important people that you have in your world that you pay? You hire these people to support you in what you are doing. It could be cleaning people, it could be tax people, it could be accountants. Who are some of the people that you have that support you so that you can be at your best in what you are doing?
I would say I hire out pretty much everything that I am not a master at. So, accountant, bookkeeper, like they went to school for that. They do that all day, every day. So, I'm going to let the professionals do that. Like, masseuse, I get facials. I mean, I try to get like help with cleaning windows for say, right? Like a
Yeah,
simple thing that I can do at my shop, but someone else can do it better. And like the money is worth the time for me.
yes,
So
yes.
I would say any person who can do the job,
Mhm.
who has a job doing it, there's a reason they have a job, right? There's a reason there's window cleaners, and it's because they do a really good job
Yeah.
and they take that off of your back and burden.
Mm. Emily, I have loved this conversation. Thank you so much for truly carving time out of an amazingly busy schedule.
Of course.
And is there anything that you would like to reiterate for our audience?
I don't think so. Just
Yeah.
be intentional and every day be intentional and
Mm,
you'll succeed. So,
lovely. Words of a beautiful wisdom. I appreciate that.
yeah,
And to our audience, we say thank you so much for being here, for taking in this conversation, for hearing Emily's wisdom, for having it apply to your life. And until next time, take good care of you.